Hey everyone, it's Michael Fair from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the director of the Austin Comedy Film Festival. We've got an event coming up in early November on November the 8th, and it's the Fall 2022 event, and then there's our last one of the year. And we have a bunch of great films to show you, and we have everything from dark comedy to horror comedy to romantic comedy to funny music videos. We even feature screenplays, you name it, we've got it at the Austin Comedy Film Festival. Content that is 30 minutes or less, and we are screening all day long. One of the films that we're going to be showing is actually a series episode. It's a dark comedy series called LOCURA, The Madness, and we are joined by director Sam Cadman. Hey, Sam.
How you doing?
Good stuff. Thanks for joining me. You are your series. Congrats to you and your team, nominated for an award. A huge accomplishment.
Yeah, super excited about that, and obviously big fans of Austin Comedy Film Festival. The teleplay was there, so it's very exciting to be able to bring the pilot that we've now managed to shoot.
Yeah, good stuff. It's rare that we get the writer, transition into the filmmaker and have the product turn out so well. I mean, the judges really embrace this. It's a great looking series episode up on screen, and your lead actor puts in such an excellent performance. So congrats to you and your team.
Well, and it's very much his story. It's based on his life. He very sadly in real life, his father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's just before lockdown, and we basically spent 2020 developing the idea of a comedy set in a tragedy, and it's essentially a Brooklyn hipster has to move to Palm Beach, Florida to look after his parents, particularly his father, who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And, I had just seen the Ricky Gervais series Afterlife, and I thought that there was something very appealing about dealing with a subject that's so traumatic and genuinely, just awful. But there's something about human character, human nature that gets us through these things, and often by finding somehow some kind of release, some way to laugh at the awfulness of it. And that was really kind of the challenge, and what for me as a director and as one of the writers, I think was the tough thing to get right, which hopefully we have.
Well, you turned like a situation like this into comedy. You turned something like this into laughs. I mean, obviously there was personal inspiration here with you and your lead actor, but how are you going to turn this into a series, and what are the plans, for the future?
Well, funny enough, the pilot is it's essentially 9 scenes, and we wrote them. Each scene, in the order that you watch them, is essentially a scene from its own respective episode of a full commission. So let's suppose we were to get 10 half hours commissioned. Each scene that you'll see in the pilot would be in its own half hour. And that was very, we were thinking about that. How do you make this work over a series and then into the future? And that has all been thought about in great detail. And certainly by the end of the episode, both Rod, the lead character, and his dad have changed. They've been on a journey and they've grown from where they were at the beginning of the episode. And in series 1, that is essentially going from denial to acceptance. Both Rod and his dad accept that the diagnosis his dad has is real and is happening. And that's series 1. And then series 2, well, wait, I have to get series 1 commissioned first.
Well, you got to be thinking about series 2. I mean, it's good that
one thing we weren't able to do, and partly why there's 9 episodes and not 10, because this was a show that was written and produced throughout really the dark ages of lockdown, when it was in full effect, and we simply didn't have the time and the money, and we didn't really have the opportunity to put in a kind of love interest, which is essentially a big part of what would be the series, because whilst Rod's character is in Florida, he meets a woman, and they develop a relationship, and there's all her side of the story that would be a big part of a full full length series that we just in our pilot we just couldn't practically and financially deal with.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm.
It sounds like there were a lot of challenges during any particular
God.
things.
Well, and especially that it was it was in the middle of a pandemic, and we had quite a few elderly members of our cast. Like, I mean, we had to be really careful. It was all done through SAG. We wanted to make sure that we had, proper COVID safety measures in place. In fact, it was the most expensive bit of our whole budget, was covering the cost, having officers on every day of our shoot. We shot it over 4 days. In fact, we shot it all in pretty much Long Island, which we cheated as Florida. That's just what we had to do. I've been in production for a long time. There's always something. And in our case, it was a once in a generation pandemic, a once in a century pandemic.
Yeah. Well, are you working on any other projects besides this one in the future?
I am. Yeah, we are. And gosh, several. I'm working with George again. We're developing an idea, and another actor. I really like, I basically direct commercials. Is kind of like my day job, and through that, I'm able to meet a lot of really talented actors, and I love that process. And whenever an actor has a good idea and they want to share it with me, it's fun to kind of think about what we could do, and that's often how these things get going. That's certainly how LOCURA got going. Rod literally just called me up and said, I'm in this very strange situation where I'm going to have to move back into my childhood bedroom in my parents' apartment because because my dad's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Sure.
And I that combination of a story that in a way only one person could tell because they're so connected with it. And in fact, a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the situations in our pilot in LOCURA come firsthand from what Rod has been through. And, like real life, a lot of it is kind of painfully absurd. So I like that combination of someone with a story that's really unique to them, and often that they're an actor, because I like that they get to flex their muscle in it too.
All right, good stuff, man. We're looking forward to screening it. It's good to get a little insight into your career and also what's going on with the series. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
Well, I'm in London, England, so I'm not going to be able to make it, but hopefully George, one of our writers, will be there. Obviously, I'm very thankful to all the judges for taking the time and watching and giving the feedback on LOCURA. And fingers crossed. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, Sam, I'll check you later, buddy. Thanks for checking in.
Bye.